The Knicks are planning a major move. According to reports, New York just waived 2 players, setting up another roster decision. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications turned on. So that way, anytime we drop new content, you get notified. And now, let's get started. The Knicks are setting up another major move. We have been speaking about the Knicks making another roster move for the last few days. And now, according to reports, they are starting to set that move up. These reports indicate that the Knicks just waived 2 two-way players. Let's break down exactly what the Knicks just did. Shout out to Ian Bagley for giving us the following information on what the Knicks just did in terms of their roster moves. According to Bagley, the Knicks have waived Matt Ryan and Jacob Toppin. Both Ryan and Toppin were on two-way contracts. The Knicks can add 2 players via two-way contracts and have the flexibility to add a player on a traditional deal. The Knicks currently have an open roster spot available that they're looking to fill. With Matt Ryan, I am not sad to see him go. Initially, I liked him coming to the team because I thought the Knicks were going to utilize his three-point shooting. That never happened because when he was on the floor, his defense, well, let's be honest, his defense just wasn't there. So because of that, he really couldn't earn any playing time. Then he got a two-way contract, and now he's been waived. He is a native New Yorker, so I completely understand that. But at this point, for the team that we have, we need to add players that are going to help us moving forward, not players that are not doing anything, not going to see any significant time, and potentially not going to be part of our future. So I have no problem with the Knicks waiving Matt Ryan. Now, Jacob Toppin. Listen, I understand he's Jacob Toppin. For some people, he's a nobody. Some people have no problem at all with the Knicks waiving Jacob Toppin. But me, personally, and I think if you watch my channel, you probably already know this, I'm a very big fan of Jacob Toppin. Maybe an even bigger fan of Jacob Toppin than his brother who we drafted in Obi Toppin, because the way he plays defense, the way he commits on that end is extremely good. And it gets better each and every year that he plays. But offensively, he's gotten better this year as well, too. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but in the G League, he was dropping 30-point games almost each and every other game. That's how good he was down there. The only problem with Toppin is when he was given some time at the NBA level, he could never replicate what he was doing at the G League level. And sometimes it can't happen that way. Or sometimes it takes some time before you're able to do that. But you know what else? You need consistent playing time. If you don't get that, it's going to be a little bit difficult to showcase your talent on any level. Either way, the Knicks just waived both of these players. Now, I know what you're thinking. The Knicks just waived these 2 guys. That means we can go out and we can sign all the players that we want. I don't think so. It doesn't work like that. Because let's remember, both of these players were on two-way contracts. And you can't give a two-way contract to just any NBA player. Shout out to James L. Edwards with The Athletic for giving us the following information and clarifying a point that I have been saying for a while now. For those asking, and to clarify, TJ Warren, Chuma Okeke, and I'll go ahead and throw in Moses Brown here as well too, because I'm sure a lot of you think that Moses Brown might be eligible for this contract as well. He is not, and here's why. NBA players with more than 4 years of experience cannot sign a two-way contract. That's why TJ, Okeke, and Moses Brown are not eligible, and this doesn't really matter for them. Though, even though this doesn't matter, New York still has that final open roster spot that they can use to sign either Warren, Okeke, or obviously, as you guys know, if you've been watching this channel, I want them to use that final roster spot to sign Moses Brown because we are extremely thin at center right now. So that is the move to make. But going back to what the Knicks did here, we know how the Knicks operate. One move normally supports the other. I can see them adding another piece to this team as soon as possible. And obviously, I am hoping that that piece is Moses Brown. As I just mentioned, if you look at the team right now, maybe you can make an argument that we're thin in a lot of areas, including our wing depth. But I agree with that to an extent, but I trust our wings more than I trust our centers to stay healthy. Our center depth right now is Mitchell Robinson, Karl Anthony Towns, and maybe you can add there Preston Achiuwa, and that's it. If any one of those guys go down, or we have an injury somewhere else, maybe to one of our wings, and then we need to put Achiuwa in that position, then our centers are only at 2. That means we are extremely limited. If any injury happens, the Knicks are not going to have a plan or anything to do unless they start planning for it right now. The way to do that is by signing Moses Brown and adding him to this team with that final roster spot, because that helps this team in exactly the area that we need right now, our center depth. And you can't do any better right now if you're the Knicks than a 7'2" monster in Moses Brown, who recently at the NBA level gave you a 20-11 game in a win for the Dallas Mavericks over the Charlotte Hornets. I'm not saying he's perfect. He's not. I'm not saying he's the best player on this planet right now. He's not. But he's exactly what we need at a very low cost that can help us now and in the future. This is the move you make if you're the Knicks. Now, going back to the two-way players that we released, you might be thinking, why did we release those players if we have no plan in place to fill in those spots? Well, the Knicks actually might have a plan in place. I released a video early on today announcing that the Knicks signed the former first-round pick in Johnny Davis. And if I do my math correctly here, I believe he's eligible for one of those two-way contracts. So I definitely think the Knicks are going to utilize one of those two ways to sign Johnny Davis. Not for any other reason besides the fact that he's a former first-round pick. And you can never have enough of those on the roster. So if you're the Knicks and Leon Rose, these are the moves that you are making. But you're making these moves because you know you're setting up another move to complete your roster and sign that final player. And that final player it needs to be Moses Brown. We are thin, limited at center. We need to address that. Signing Moses Brown addresses that situation and adds another talented player to this team. A player, in my opinion, that should have always been part of this roster because he adds exactly what we need: insurance at the center position. But what about you guys? What do you think about the Knicks waiving Matt Ryan and Jacob Toppin, basically clearing the way for them to make another roster move? Let me know how you feel about that in the comments section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.